Découvrir.
Louis dire. Lecture apéritive.
Lecture apéritive!
Roger Zelazny, Damnation Alley. He came up beside a highway and its surface looked pretty good. So he crossed onto it and sped ahead. After a time, he passed a faded sagging sign that said, Topeka, 100 miles. Greg yawned and stretched. He rubbed his eyes with his knuckles and then rubbed his forehead, the right side of which was swollen and dark. "What time is it?" he asked. Tanner gestured toward the clock in the dashboard. "Morning or afternoon?" "Afternoon." "My God! I must have slept around 15 hours. "That's about right." "You've been driving all that time?" "That's right." "You must be done in. You look like hell." "Let me just hit the head. I'll take over in a few minutes." "Good idea." Greg crawled toward the rear of the vehicle. After about 5 minutes, Tanner came upon the outskirts of a dead town. He drove up the main street, and there were rusted-out hulks of cars all along it. Most of the buildings had fallen in upon themselves, and some of the open cellars that he saw were filled with scummy water. Skeletons lay about the town square. There were no trees standing above the weeds that grew there. 3 telephone poles still stood, one of them leaning and trailing wires like a handful of black spaghetti. Several benches were visible within the weeds, beside the cracked sidewalks, and a skeleton lay stretched out upon the second one Tanner passed. He found his way barred by a fallen telephone pole, and he detoured around the block. The next street was somewhat better preserved, but all its storefront windows were broken, and a nude mannequin posed fetchingly with her left arm missing from the elbow down. The traffic light at the corner stared blindly as Tanner passed through its intersection. Tanner heard Greg coming forward as he turned at the next corner. "I'll take over now," he said. "I want to get out of this place first." And they both watched in silence for the next 15 minutes, until the dead town was gone from around them. Tanner pulled to a halt then and said, "We're a couple of hours from a place that used to be called Topeka. Wake me if you run into anything hairy." "How did it go while I was asleep? Did you have any trouble?" "No," said Tanner, and he closed his eyes and began to snore. Greg drove away from the sunset, and he ate 3 ham sandwiches and drank a quart of milk before Topeka. Tanner was awakened by the firing of the rockets. He rubbed the sleep from his eyes and stared dumbly ahead for about half a minute. Like gigantic dried leaves, great clouds fell about them. Bats, bats, and bats. The air was filled with bats. Tanner could hear a chittering, squeaking, scratching sound, and the car was buffeted by the heavy dark bodies. "Where are we?" he asked. "Kansas City." The place seems full of them, and Greg released another rocket, which cut a fiery path through the stooping, spinning horde.